Okay, I'll just cut this out. Okay, we're ready to go. So today we're going to be talking about how to maximize your lead flow with PPC advertising and Google AdWords, and also the couple different platforms that Google has to offer for advertising, and talk about how roofing companies we work with and just companies across the United States are generating unlimited business by using pay-per-click advertising strategies. And I actually have Zach, who's joining us on the call as well this time around. He's going to be sharing some insights. Obviously runs the pay-per-click advertising here at Intricate. So Zach, just quick introduction. Any thoughts?
No, just Zachary Bowman, Director of Paid Search for Intricate Digital Marketing, just looking to implement, Google's new strategies and just seeing what we can do to grow not only roofing companies, but service companies as a whole.
Absolutely. So Zach is always staying on top of the latest trends, the latest updates in the algorithms and everything that's going on within the pay-per-click space. And it's ever changing. And so that's why it's necessary that we have somebody in these campaigns on the daily basis and doing weekly optimizations on all the accounts. We'll go in depth into the advertising strategies. Now, the point of this whole presentation is not to make pay-per-click advertising seem hard. It's more so, here's what it is. Here's why we understand the platform and why you should choose us and why we are credible when we start talking about pay-per-click advertising and other channels of marketing. So like I said, for roofing companies, at the end of the day, what is the digital dominance method? And at the end of the day, after coming to conclusion, it really comes down to having your website, which is the foundation. So having a really good website, high performance, converts. Next is organic traffic. Now, third up on the pyramid there is paid advertising. So that's where we talk about Google pay-per-click advertising, PPC, then we have Google My Business, and then at the top we have tracking and reporting. So again, what we're talking about here is strictly paid advertising with Google pay-per-click and how you can capture and dominate online that your competitors aren't taking advantage of. And then as well, how does tracking and reporting tie into that, and why is it so important? So we'll dive straight into that in regards to the dominance plan here. Okay, cool. So we're going to have to need your attention throughout this entire presentation. It's very important. So I'd like for you guys to turn off your cell phones, turn off Facebook. If you're serious about doubling or tripling your leads from the internet, and you're truly trying to take your roofing company and your roofing website to the next level for the next 30 minutes here, this time is very critical. So I'd appreciate you guys if you turn off the phone, turn off the Facebook, and pay strict attention to this presentation. So, we're always getting asked, in terms of pay-per-click advertising, what it's about and what's working, and, because it's always changing. It's changing every single day, what's working, what's not working. So what we're going to cover in today's quick presentation is why PPC is key to unlimited scalability in terms of lead flow for your roofing and siding business. And this applies to really any home service companies. When we say roofing, if you're a home improvement company and you do a little bit of roofing, it applies to you as well. And how to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for minimum cost per lead and maximum ROI. So when we talk about minimum cost per lead, Zach in a minute will talk a little bit about that in terms of why that's so important to bring that cost per lead and cost per conversions down, but also maximizing your return on investment, which is your bottom line. And then we'll talk a little bit about KPIs, key performance indicators, tracking, landing pages, campaign structure, and why this is all important, because we see roofing companies and companies as a whole come to us for pay-per-click advertising services, and we see their campaign structure, whether it's a smart campaign with Google or whatever it is, where it's set up so basic where one, it's sending traffic to a landing page that isn't specific to that service that somebody clicked on, and then also the campaign structure is just not set up properly. So we will talk a little bit about that, including KPIs and what to look for in your PPC advertising or manager, if you will. Okay, so a lot of people will ask us as well, why should we listen to you? Why are we the experts in this field? And to be honest with you, our track record and our reputation is not even funny. Personally, I'm a member of a popular BNI group in Arizona. I've spoken at many home service marketing events and articles published in marketing blog publications, just to name a couple. Obviously widely accepted as a premier expert in internet marketing for roofing businesses. And also we do have some partners in just home improvement as in general. So your home improvement company that does siding, patios, etc., general contractors. And most importantly, which some of our competitors, if you will, don't have this experience, is working, in the marketing team at a roofing company itself. So I was actually on W2 at a roofing company. So I kind of got the feel of what it's like being internally and then kind of applying those same concepts to an agency model where we service, other roofing companies across the United States to help generate that business that you guys deserve. So that's exactly why you should listen to us. Without further ado, let's keep going. I guess it's just an image. I'm not a big fan of images, but you can see on the bottom left there at a Christmas party at the roofing company. So should PPC be part of your overall internet marketing strategy? Of course it should be, but we're going to dive deeper into what this really entails and really talk about the importance of PPC advertising as it relates to your dominance plan. So your dominance plan at the end of the day really comes down to 8 different components of your marketing. Now, 1 SEO, 2 PPC, 3 retargeting, 4 paid online directories, and so on and so forth as we go around. So if you really want to take your roofing company next level, you take a look at this dominance plan, and this will outline what components of the internet you can really take advantage of, whether it's Google, Bing, Facebook, Angie's List, pay-per-lead structure like Home Advisor, because they work. If you're not there, you're not taking advantage of it. I understand if you put more money somewhere else, it'll be more beneficial. YouTube, Facebook, and also referral programs. And so as we could see, number 2 on this list here, and this isn't like a hierarchy by any means, it's more so just 8 components. Number 2 is PPC. So Google AdWords, Bing search, so Bing ads. We primarily stick with Google ads, and that's primarily what this whole presentation is about. However, it is a massive component of a roofing company's success on the internet, is making sure that you have a Google ads budget, making sure that you invest in Google ads on a daily basis to generate the business that you guys deserve. And also one thing to know is you're able to focus on the services you want to push. So if you want to push roof repair, that's totally possible. If you want to push roof replacement, that's possible as well. So it all comes down to what your structure is and what your goals are with that campaign. You set a budget, you go from there. So why PPC should be part of your internet marketing strategy? Just a few components here. Zach, if you can take a moment and kind of list off some of the bullets there and then kind of expand on that, I appreciate it.
Yep. So just reiterating what Mark was saying, why PPC should be part of your internet marketing. First thing is start showing up quickly. So first, something like SEO, you might see a 1 to 3 month ramp up time period, but with PPC, it's day one. As soon as we turn the ads on, you're able to start ranking, getting phone calls, starting getting lead form submissions as well. So that's the same thing I like to say. PPC starts very quickly, while SEO could take a month to 2 months to actually start showing conversions. So show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. This comes down to location targeting. So the thing about Google Ads is you can actually target wherever you'd like to. So if you want to service a certain city, but a certain nearby city is outside of your service area, you can exclude that from the search as well. So really just targeting down to who your ideal consumer is. That's what Google Ads is built for. So moving on to the next bullet point, show up for geo-modified terms, roofer, siding, remodeling, roof repair, etc. So this is where we come to account negatives as well. So if you want to show up for only remodeling and not roof repair, we're able to do that as well. Your account really works for you. So whatever you want to advertise for, you can really get down to as niche as much as you want to. And then we come to unlimited scalability. So what Google Ads allows you to do is actually just, pour gasoline on wherever you see fit. So if you have multiple locations and one location is doing well and it's actually only servicing half of the state, you can go ahead and raise that budget up, and that's how you continue to scale. And then If we see that there's new keywords, it's actually bringing in better traffic, or there's actually something called conquesting as well. Conquesting is when you rank for competitor terms. So that's a way you can scale as well. So really Google Ads is a platform that allows you to target wherever you want for whatever services you see fit and actually scale to the amount of budget you're willing to put forth.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate on the unlimited scalability, that's really what it's about, because you see the big conglomerate in your field or in your market that's a roofing company, whether they're commercial, residential, and in most case scenarios, they have this massive budget. I mean, they're probably spending $50,000 a month on Google Ads. You can't do that with SEO. You can only pay so much on the SEO side of things. That's what we mean by unlimited scalability. You could put literally thousands of dollars into it and get thousands of dollars back. So that's what it's all about. Now, Zach, as well, why most PPC campaigns fail. This is so important. We have a few listed here, and if you have anything else, add it as well.
Yep, just coming down the list of things. So why most PPC campaigns fail, speaking of number one, failure to understand the AdWords auction process and the complexity of the roofing siding industry. So what this means is, AdWords can be like I said, it can work for you, but can also be a very complex platform as well. So if you're not set up structurally correctly, your ad account is most definitely going to fail. So this brings me down to the second bullet point, set up only one ad group for all your services. So when you're working with Google Ads, you want to make sure the search query, the ad copy, and the landing page you're being directed to is very consistent. So if I'm someone who's searching for roof repair, and then you bring me to an overall hanging, just a roofing page, that doesn't necessarily speak to the service I'm looking for. So somebody might feel that it was a relevant landing page to be sent to and might immediately click off to your ad. So that's where you start to see a very high bounce rate. So this is something that we try to stay away from. We set up each service as a different ad group, and what this allows us to send to a perfectly, cohesive service page that speaks about the service, has a common special as well for that service, has our phone number in the header, it has the location as well, and then we also have a lead form page as well. So moving down to the third text, not using specific text ads and landing pages for group of keywords. This is what I just spoke to as well. So making sure that roof repair is one ad group, replacement is one ad group, installation another ad group, inspection, and so on and so forth. So each service is a different ad group because this allows us to send it to a different landing page that strongly speaks to that service. So coming down to the last bullet point, just no strong call to action or offer on the landing page. So on your landing page, you want to have a call to action on each fold of the page. And what this does, it actually, you might have an incentive at the top of the page, but then you might have a good, tidbit reviews about your business at the bottom of the page. And the review is actually what set that customer over. So you want them to be able to read the review and then also be able to have that call to action that's very close to that, that's very close to this review as well. And then also another thing is also having offers. So specials are huge when it comes to home service companies because you're looking for that new lead and it's very, very competitive market. So having something that is a offer or a perceived offer is something great. So if you have any type of financing, 60 months, no financing, 12 months, no financing, being able to reword that and make it a perceived savings, it also goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, offers, we've seen a drastic change in how the ad performs if you have an offer. So for example, $200 off a roof repair or 50% off your first roof repair or whatever it is specifically, you definitely can increase conversions. It really creates urgency as well. So that's one of the reasons why we entertain that idea. So how to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for minimum cost per lead and maximum return on investment. I promised you, Zach will talk about this. So Zach, if you take a second and chat about how to structure your account to ultimately maximize the return on investment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So how to structure your PPC account. First, we have conversion tracking is a must. So the entire reason you're running PPC ads is, for conversions, whether it's for a product, home service, you're looking for conversion. So you're always optimizing for conversion. So you need to know, where are people clicking? Are they calling your business? Are they submitting lead forms? So always tracking those conversions is the number one thing that you need when you're setting up your campaign. So as we move down, your campaign must be broken into smaller ad groups targeting the various services that you provide. So your text ads match the person type. So this is what we spoke about again, just making sure that everything is cohesive. You want to make sure that search query and that ad copy and that landing page are all cohesive, sending them to the direct page, really speaking to the service and then highlighting it with that offer. So then we're moving down, make sure you have a strong understanding of keyword match types and don't forget about negative keywords. So keyword match types, you have broad match, is with when somebody searches that term, or broad match or phrase match, that means whatever your keyword is, it has to be inside the search query for your ad to come up for that search. And the difference between exact match is if you're ranking for, roofing companies, somebody has to search roofing company with no words before, after, or in between for your ads to come up for that with no misspellings as well. So exact match keywords might seem like, hey, that makes more sense because I want somebody who's exactly searching for this. But with exact match keywords, you're going to run into not a double, but a higher cost per click usually. So that's why you want to rank for, both broad match and exact match keywords. Now you will start to get irrelevant clicks because of the search queries that you get from broad match, since you are still ranking for the keyword, but you're also going to rank for other words that come, before, after, or in between your search. That's why you need negative keywords. And what negative keywords do is make it so that your ad will not show up for these search query. So, a home service, somebody may be searching for Home Depot, or somebody may be searching for Yelp, just simply looking for reviews. So you might add Home Depot as an account negative because you don't want somebody who's searching for services for Home Depot or products from Home Depot to accidentally click on your ad. Now you're being charged for this ad spend. So as we add, let me take a step back. For negative keywords, they're usually added for competitors. So there is a practice called conquesting, and conquesting is when you actually rank for competitor keywords. So let's say I am a roofing company. I know there's a roofing company across the street and we'd like to not steal business, but we'd like to, rank for some of their searches as well. We can go ahead and add their brand name to our campaign and we'll be ranking for them as well. So that's something you can do when it comes to your match types and then adding negative keywords. So just moving down to the next bullet point, you need to write compelling text ads that resonate with what the customer typed and entice them to click on you versus the competition. So this is where we actually highlight offers and, appearance of savings very well, because we actually do competitor research, competitor analysis. So if we know there's local roofing companies, we'll go and see what type of specials they're currently running so we can beat those. If it's a 10% off a new customer, maybe a 12% to 15% is a little bit more enticing when they see the ads close together. So that's what we make sure we do. And then compelling text ads as well. If there's anything highlighting about the business, something that's really big, making sure you're locally owned and operated, family owned and operated. If you have any type of discounts when it comes to veterans or anything of that sort, we make sure we highlight that in the ad copy. Anything that can really anything that can set your service and your business aside, we make sure we highlight that in all ad copy.
Yeah, absolutely. To add something on the negative keyword list, common keywords that would put on there are like jobs, careers, things that people are searching for. Perhaps roofing companies or roofing was within the query. However, the searcher intent on that keyword tends to be, not in the best interest of the company. So if it's jobs, maybe you're running an ad for, roofing company jobs, you're running them to a landing page for a job offer. However, for most cases, you're going to be running ads for your services, and you don't want to send traffic when somebody's looking for a job to your roofing service page and paying $5 for that click. So it's just not worth it. So definitely have an extensive list of keyword or negative keywords. We'll talk a little bit about it later. However, with the campaigns we run, of course, we're going to be consistently adding those on a monthly basis to make sure that the campaign is serving for the better interest of the roofing company. So next thing we're going to be talking about is a few other things on how to structure your campaign. So obviously you want to leverage ad extensions and make your ad copy stand out on the page. So if you talk about when you search a keyword, you probably can relate to this. Let's say you search roofing companies near me or roofing companies Houston. You'll see in the top section Google guaranteed, and then right below that you'll see the Google search ads. So that's what we're talking about right here. So if you leverage ad extensions such as call outs, call extensions, different pages that you can send people to on the website, such as meeting your team, etc., that's going to allow you to take more real estate on page one and hopefully be able to capture more leads and hopefully capture more qualified leads. You have to land visitors on solid, well thought out pages on your website as well that are built to convert. So that's with conversion rate optimization in mind. At the end of the day, it's pretty common sense. Just make sure you're sending them to a page that speaks to that service and ultimately can capture that lead. So ongoing split testing and tweaking and fine tuning is obviously very important as well. And that's why companies, choose us for that specifically. Now, don't even think about spending another penny till you have conversion tracking in place. Now, what I mean by that is you want to make sure you have conversion tracking, and it's very essential. So the essentials of it, of course, you want dynamic number switching or swapping, if you will, with different phone numbers for PPC traffic versus organic traffic versus direct traffic. So what I mean by that, if somebody clicks on your website from Google, they search the keyword for roofing companies, and they're looking for a roof repair, when they land on that website, you want to make sure it swaps the number dynamically, so it switches it automatically. With that being said, that number that it switched to is going to be different from if I were to search the business directly. So if your company is ABC Roofing, I search ABC Roofing, and that number is going to show up as a direct number. So when we can see in the metrics and tracking, this phone call or this lead, if you will, is a direct lead. So it's somebody who had actually searched you and they knew you before. So perhaps it's a referral, you never know, but they searched your business name. Whereas you can see, the organic leads, you could see the PPC leads, et cetera, for the other channels. Now, it's very important to have a keyword pool with dynamic number swapping as well. So what I mean by that is, we use CallRel specifically. It's no fancy software. However, we're able to add that JavaScript to the website so it automatically switches the number when somebody lands on the website. So you'll kind of see that on websites when you land on it. You'll see the original number and then it'll swap to the tracking number. So that's where you're able to track and hear the call recording as well. So that's very important. Web form tracking. Obviously for this specifically, we send people to a thank you page after people submit the web forms. So we're able to see where that traffic had came from and, the conversions there on web forms. Obviously you're going to have to do some more research on that depending on the content management system you're using and also just plugin you're using. On WordPress, for example, you could use many different web forms. So you want to make sure you're using the right ones, and we're not going to dive too deep into that. Conversion tracking built in your Google AdWords campaign to determine which ad groups generated the most leads and the best leads. And so what I mean by that is if we were to look at call extensions, we were to look at web form submissions, we were to look at calls from ads, just all of the main lead types. So obviously call and form submissions, and see which ad groups, and we'll talk a little bit more about ad groups, but which ad groups are performing the best, we can optimize accordingly. So some important KPIs to keep in mind. Number one is total spend, how much you've spent. And then I guess the last one here is return on investment. So if you spend 1,000, how much do you make? Average cost per click is a very important number to keep in mind. Obviously you don't want, if you have a little bit of a smaller budget in the market, of course, you're not going to be doing an exact match and ranking for keywords that are going to cost, $50 to click, and perhaps you won't even close the deal. And so you want to make sure that you're targeting the low hanging fruit. So cost per click is very important. You really have to look at the average as well per ad group and see what, because roof repair is going to be different from roof replacement. So we'll kind of dive more into that. Average cost per lead, which is obviously a call and a web form. So rather than just a click, you go the extra mile. So when somebody actually calls into your business, how much does that cost? And how much does it cost when somebody actually submits the form? So the ways you can get these numbers is, okay, how many web form submissions came from our Google ads and what was our total spend? So you divide the total spend by the amount of form submissions from Google ads, and that way you can get your average cost per form submission. But also if you want to add the form submissions plus the amount of calls that came from the ads, you can get a more accurate number that way. So like I said before, total spend divided by the calls and form submissions. So let's say, for example, you spent, $1,000 on Google Ads, and then you had 20 calls and you had 20 form submissions. You would take 100 and you divide that by 40, and you'd get your average cost per lead. And sometimes you could take that number and compare it to Home Advisor. And then in most cases, if you're set up the advertising campaign correctly, you're going to have more qualified leads. But you can take that number and say, okay, maybe it's 40 or maybe it's 30 or whatever. You could bring that over and say, okay, the Home Advisor costs $60 and they're not exclusive. They're not high quality and we weren't able to even call them. So that's definitely something you want to keep an eye on as well. Kind of, compare it to your other marketing efforts, if you will. Okay, cool. So part of the tracking dashboard we have at Intricate, this is just an example right here. So as you can see, 37 total conversions, and then we can also see the Google Ads cost per conversion. So this is a fairly low cost per conversion, $4.94. Now, obviously, you got to really dive into each one of those conversions. What was the conversion? I think this one specifically, we're talking about calls and website interactions. So that's a very good number, and we're able to have a good tracking dashboard in place so our partners can actually look at something that makes sense, and digest information rather than looking at a bunch of numbers. So this kind of brings it and presents you in a way that is reliable, and also you can trust these numbers here. Now, an even better tracking dashboard would be looking into the CRM that you use. So for example, Service Titan, in most cases, you can tie your Google Ads into it. And basically what happens is, it's various Zapier integrations. However, you want to make sure that if you're paying the pretty penny for Service Titan, at least look into the different dashboards you have there for the analytics and marketing. As you can see here, company metrics, last week, you can see some information here, 12-month trend, 26-week trend, total sales, $9,500, total sale average, 3,166, and then kind of go from there in terms of break it down. What was the marketing spend? Which percentage of projects came from Google Ads? I guess you can get your number as to how much you rely on Google Ads, and if you're getting a return on investment. So if you do by any chance use Service Titan in the home service space, definitely look at the dashboards you have to use there. Depending on the CRM you have, we're not too familiar with too many of them. However, definitely look at what it has to offer. I know Service Titan is probably the best out there, so definitely check them out. So Zach, if you could talk a little bit about the structure of the PPC campaign and kind of what WordStream had put together here.
Yep. I'm just going through the structure, how to structure your main campaign. So Google Ads account, this would actually be us, Intricate Digital Marketing, IDM roofing marketers, be us, the actual Google Ads account, campaign 1 and campaign 2. So you can actually have as many campaigns as you want, but I usually set them up as a brand and a non-branded campaign. Or let's say you are your roofing company, you have multiple locations. So you have a Phoenix location as campaign 1, you have a Peoria campaign as campaign 2, Peoria location is campaign 2, let's say Scottsdale location as well as campaign 3. So that's the reason we do campaigns, because however you want to split out your budget, I would say that's how you want to split out your campaigns. So as we're moving down to ad groups, what I spoke about earlier, this is actually where you want to be able to split out each different service as a different ad group, because we want to send them to a different landing page. And the different landing page is going to have a different location in the header, and they have a different service title as well. So what this allows us to do is, like I said earlier, it allows us to rank for whatever service we'd like for whatever area. So if you only want to rank for, roofing repair and not roofing replacement, then you set up roofing repair in one campaign, roofing replacement in a different campaign, and you're able to change out the different location targeting as well. So underneath your ad groups, you have your keywords. So keywords is what people type in at a very high level. It's what people type into Google for your ads to come in. So you want to make sure what you're ranking for is relevant to whatever your service is. So, if you have one ad group and it's roof repair, roof repair would be a keyword. Roof repair near me, roof repair companies, you know, so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that whatever type of consumer or whatever service you're looking to rank for, your keywords are consistent with that. And then if you see next to keywords, you have ad A and ad B. So what this means is you want to have multiple ad creatives. Now, Google, we allow the majority of our accounts to run on automated bidding strategy. So what that means is we're allowing Google to take its algorithm and, you know, basically show our ads in our desired locations and our desired time frames when they see fit for us to get the most conversions. So we do this because we want to give Google options. So they might say, hey, this terminology works better for this person, and this terminology works better for this one. So I like to have you know, at least 3 to 5 ad creatives for each ad group. And that's the way we allow Google to, you know, continue to optimize for conversions going forward.
Okay, absolutely. So if we were to look at the ad group section right here in blue, so just to expand on it, campaign 1, just to put this in theory, a roofing company, we would have brand. So your brand campaign, and you would essentially rank for keywords that people are searching when they're looking for your business name, you know, when they're looking for your services, they're looking for your reviews, etc. Campaign 2, this could be non-brand. And so this is where we would break it down into many different ad groups. We would have way more ad groups than over here, because what we're going to be able to do is, let's say you're 50-50 residential commercial. You do roof replacement, you do new roofing, you do flat roofing, you do walk decks, you do tile, shingle, roof repair, foam, roof inspection. I mean, just to name off like 10, you could have 10 different ad groups speaking specifically to those services. And then you could go over to commercial. So you could have a commercial roofing ad group. You can go even more in depth: commercial roof replacement, new roofing, condominium, apartments, flat roofing, roof repair, whatever it may be, to help generate as much business as possible while breaking these down into adequate ad groups, if you will. Now, just to expand on that even further, let's say, for example, we had residential roofing. You come down even further into the different keywords. What are people searching for when they're looking for a residential roofing company in your area? So that's where we'll do keyword research, figure out what people are searching for. And then, as Zach had mentioned, having the multiple different ad creatives for each ad group. And with that being said, we would be able to have the automated bidding strategy, so Google can optimize accordingly on which ad is best to show up on which keyword. And so we allow Google to do that because we understand that they know what's best. They have the data. They know what people are going to click on, and what's in the best interest of the company there. So next page here, you know, what does it, you know, what it looks like done right on Google. So if we were to look at Roof Repair Phoenix, for example, and you have this frontline consultant AZ here, roof repairs, and as you can see, they're sending us to a landing page that speaks directly to roof repairs. So their title tag here is Phoenix Roof Repairs, simply put. Frontline Consultants LLC, their business name. If we just quickly read this description here, we stand firmly behind our work. Schedule your estimate today. We only use high quality materials. Leave your roof in top shape. Call now. Trusted services, high quality materials, highly recommended. Your local experts, services, roofing, and remodeling. And then, as you can see there, they have ad extensions. They have our team, request an estimate, read our reviews. So at the end of the day, if I'm looking for a roof repair company in Phoenix and I were to search something like this, right up top, they're taking up 50% of real estate above the fold there, at least on the screenshot. And as you can see, they're taking, I mean, there's more that they could do to this ad. However, it's better than most ads. It's a pretty professional looking and quality ad. I'm sure it's performing really well for them because, as you can see, as long as they're targeting the right keywords. But as you can see, if I'm looking to learn more about their team, I could click on their team. If I need an estimate as soon as possible, ASAP, they could click on request an estimate. Or if I need to read the reviews and make sure that they're a legit company, then we'll click on read the reviews first. And like I said, they send the traffic to a roof repair specific landing page. That's what's helpful here. That, if I were to click on this title here, Phoenix Roof Repairs, it would bring me specifically to a roof repairs page, and it honestly would provide a lot of value at the end of the day. So most likely choose that roofing company if I were to read more about them, see their reviews, and contact them as soon as possible for my leak or whatever needs to happen. Some keyword types, I mean, these really matter at the end of the day, and Zach talked a little bit about it, but so you have broad match, you have modified broad match, which is, to be honest with you, becoming more and more popular, and it's kind of like a hidden gem, phrase match, and then exact match. And so if we were to look at broad match tends to be, I won't say it is the cheapest. However, for the most case scenario, you're going to get the cheapest clicks over there. Exact match, on the other side of the spectrum, you have the most expensive keyword. So if you're trying to rank for roofers in Houston, that specifically, if somebody searches that, but they don't have S at the end of roofer, then we won't pop up. But if it has S at the end of it, then we will pop up. So there's going to be less search volume for that. However, you're going to pay a pretty penny for that because you wanted to show up for that specifically. The whole idea there is that, you're a roofing company, you have a lot to spend, and it doesn't matter about the budget because you're going to win more business at the end of the day, and you just want to rank for anything and everything. So that's exactly what you do right there. We like all the different types here: phrase match, modified broad match. At the end of the day, just to break down, I mean, the plus in front of the roofer on modified broad match might seem a little bit confusing at first, but basically it's an expert mode of Google Ads. We're able to type in the plus in front of the keywords to make it modified broad match within the ad group, or we could add the quotations around roofer for a phrase match, and then over here you just have the bracket. Broad match is just nothing; it's just the keyword itself. So don't get confused by this. It's not it doesn't mean that somebody searches plus in front of roofer by any means. It's more so for the algorithms to understand what type of keyword match you're going to be working with. Any thoughts directly on, Zach, any thoughts directly on modified broad match or phrase match, or what we like to use best?
Well, just for, broad match, modified, or phrase match, this is where you're going to actually have, a lower cost per click, but you are going to bring in irrelevant clicks for that same reason. So something like exact match, for what we have Houston roofers, somebody's going to have to type in exactly Houston roofers for your ad to show up for that. Now, if you're having Houston roofers for broad match, somebody could type in local Houston roofers reviews, and then you'll show up for that. So they're not necessarily looking for a service, they're looking for reviews. So that would be an irrelevant click. So going in, maybe adding something like reviews as a negative will actually combat that as well. So just understanding the type of relevant clicks you can get and why you're using each strategy behind each match type.
Yeah, absolutely. And having searcher intent as well. So give the example, you're a roofing company in Houston, and you're haven't got too specific on the services you offer, but you're doing broad matching. You have a long list of negatives, and you're running traffic to a targeted landing page for roofing companies or residential roofing. We're able to look at searcher intent on that keyword, whatever keyword you put into the ad group, and just making sure that the ad creative speaks to that, the ad copy, the extensions, you name it. And then at the end of the day, having the final URL correct as well. So definitely play around with it. For us specifically, we do whatever's best in the best interest of the roofing company. So if they have a smaller budget, of course, we're not going to do exact match. So whatever we think is best for the roofing company, they're going to trust our expertise, and we'll kind of go from there. So, just to reiterate the negative keyword list, very, very important. So jobs, careers, car, association, auto, etc. There's many different ones. You could even search on Google, negative keyword lists, and you will see tons of negative keyword lists that probably would apply to the home service niche. So one of the main ones is obviously jobs. If I were to go on Google and I searched any home service, doesn't matter if it's HVAC or plumbing or painting or any contractor, you could search their actual industry and market, and you could potentially search jobs at the end, and you don't want your ad to pop up for that unless you're running a jobs ad. So making sure that your negative keyword list is extensive and making sure that it works for you rather than getting a bunch of irrelevant clicks. So you need to write compelling text ads that resonate with what your customers typed and entice them to click on you versus your competition. So Zach, I'll give you the ground in a second here, but it's really about having as much real estate as possible on page one. So if your competitors are there as well because they're doing the same marketing strategies, if you will, you just got to be better at them. You got to have a better brand, and you got to have better messaging. And it really comes down to brand identity. Do your ideal customers resonate with your messaging? So that's where compelling text ads come into play. And that's really what search ads are all about. So Zach, quickly, do you have any thoughts on those bullets there?
Yeah, so so less is more, just like you're saying with your structure of your Google ads. You have 3 headlines, which are 30 characters each, and you have 2 90-character description lines. So that might not seem like a lot. You have to actually know how to highlight your business in a very short amount of characters. So like I said, less is more. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. So if you're optimizing for phone calls, you want to have call so and so now in the headline, or things of that sort, because we are creatures of habit. And once we read something, it kind of does, this is advertising, so you're going to be, I guess, subconsciously motivated to do something after you read it. So having that call to action that actually leads them to the actions you want them to take is always very strong. So if you have a special offer for the service that they search and reference in the text ad, all the better. So like I said before, I referenced, many times setting up each service as a different ad group, because setting up each service as a different ad group, that allows you to write ads that are perfectly for that service. So when we write ad copy for roof repair, we don't have copy that's, one, total account wide. We write for roof repair, then we write for roof replacement, then we write for, maintenance and things of that sort. So we make sure everything is clean and cohesive. And then I come back to the special. So if somebody's searching for roof repair already, and there's 5 ads that comes up, and you're the only company with the special, your automatically eyes are going to go to that. So you may not go with that company, but you're at least going to give them the chance. You're going to give them their ad the click. You're going to give their landing page a chance. So that's why we make sure everything is clean and cohesive, and make sure everything is consistent from search query all the way to them landing on your landing page. So coming down, give them one decision, call/web form and push for it. Don't offer them too many options to straight from your site. Yeah, you don't want to offer them too many options, because you don't want to allow them too many decisions to make. They've already searching for your service. They have the intent. So when they land on your landing page, make it very clean, speak to the service, speak to the location. And if you're optimizing for calls, or you're optimizing for web forms, make sure that web form is very prominent. If you're optimizing for calls, make sure that call is very prominent on the page as well.
Exactly. Okay. No, it really comes down to having that compelling text on and utilizing all the characters that Google allows you to use, because it really comes down to having as much real estate as possible and having a correct messaging that speaks to that service. Okay. Some of the best performing text ads we've seen, and including some that we've created, as you can see, like right here on this top one here on again, Frontline Consultants, AC #1 rated roofing company. Schedule your service today. They have call extension. They're sending to a final URL that makes sense. They have the link to call extension and same one as earlier. So request an estimate, our team, read our reviews. RoofingTexas.com, as you can see, this one, they're doing a really good job at the extensions on the bottom, where they have the call, hours and services may vary, and also link to, and also address there. However, one thing that they definitely could be improved, and actually 2 things I'm noticing now. The first one is utilizing as many characters as possible on the top there, because this is roofing companies in Houston. And as we can see, they have new roofing contractors. So they definitely could be more descriptive on that and utilize all 90 characters there and 3 headings. Now also the URL, like perhaps the homepage speaks to that specifically, but let's make sure that's additional page that speaks to whatever the search query was. So as you can see, some differences there, pros and cons. I hope that makes sense. It really comes down to utilizing as much text as possible and making sure that it's not just gibber and it's compelling. So you have to land visitors on solid, well thought out landing pages that you're on your website specifically that are built to convert. Now, I see a lot of companies out there running pay-per-click campaigns, like directly to unbalanced pages or high-level pages, or for example, ClickFunnels or whatever it may be. And the problem with that is that, yes, it's like a pay-per-lead at that point, because now you're not really building up that asset. It's not like a machine. It's not your asset that's growing in value. Whereas when we run ads, we want to make sure that we're running ads directly to the landing pages of these websites and just having dynamic number switching or number swapping. And with that being said, every time somebody clicks on the ad and goes to the website, it's added to our historic data on Google Analytics. If somebody clicks organically, it's from Google Search Console, and we're able to see that historic data grow and grow and see what works and what doesn't work, and ultimately, send traffic to ad specific pages on the website itself rather than building out, additional landing pages that are random domains, random URLs, or random permalinks, where perhaps people are going to be confused, whereas they landed. So that's very important to just land them on not the homepage, but land them on highly converting landing pages specifically built on your CMS. So with WordPress, it would basically be another page created, right? So how to accelerate your lead flow via paid search for roofing and siding contractors. Actually, this is a duplicate slide, so we'll keep going. Questions to ask your PPC provider. So at the end of the day, if you have, most people already have a PPC provider. So if you're watching this and you're want to ask a couple questions to your current PPC person and figure out if they actually know what they're doing, you want to make sure you ask, how much of my budget will go to Google AdWords spend versus management fees? Now, this is very important. Like, this is number one, because we see companies out there charging for ad spend, which isn't an issue, but you want to make sure you're transparent and clear as to how much is going to Google AdWords and how much is going towards the management fee. For us, we're a retainer model. So you pay us X amount for everything. We'll manage and run your ads. No scammy percentage or anything like that. It's more so, retainer model. This is what we're managing, and this is how much you're putting towards Google AdWords. For me personally, I'd like for you guys to put more money into the Google AdWords and reap more benefits that way. And then also another thing you could ask here is, what type of tracking will you be putting in place? So do you have AdWords from calls and form submissions and having conversion tracking set up properly, as we talked about throughout this presentation, and KPIs? That's very important. So you want to make sure that that's all broken down for you, easy to understand, easy to digest, to make sure that it's working, or to understand that it's not working and then cancel it. So if you don't have web and call conversion tracking that pulls up in AdWords, you'll be at a major disadvantage versus the competition, because they're able to see what's working and what's not working. You're just simply putting money at it and you don't know what's working. And so when we're able to see what's working and what's not working, we're able to optimize accordingly and keep your optimization score above 90 and continue to make your advertising campaign successful. Will you delineate PPC calls versus organic calls? So that's another question you should be able to ask is, what calls came from PPC versus organic? And, that makes you understand, what's working as well. So are you getting calls organically? Are you ranking on the search engine? What are these calls coming from? Are they legit calls? Are these people actually looking for services? Those are the types of questions you should ask. And how will we track our key performance indicators, so your KPIs? For us specifically, we use the dashboard. We use the dashboard to show you guys what you need to show or what you need to see in terms of what's working, what's not. And if something's not working, here's why it's not working. And here's the KPI, and you'll be able to see that historic data over time, as long as we keep that data running. So will I provide you with a live dashboard? That's another question you can ask. Most PPC people do have one, but does it really show your KPIs? Probably not. So making sure that it does. And making sure that dashboard's actually an asset and you can use it to your best advantage. So I guess one thing you can add there on the live dashboard would be your key metrics, your average cost per lead generated, or cost per click generated. What's your, what keywords are you paying for, and what's generating more business, right? So those are the types of things you want in the live dashboard to be able to see what's working, what's not working. A couple other questions you could ask your PPC provider is, will you be setting up specific landing pages for each ad group? Or, will you be directing traffic to the homepage? Chances are, if somebody's running ads as a roofing company, they probably have a PPC manager, somebody else running the ads. And more than not, we see all of these ads being directed to the homepage. So again, that's an issue. You want to make sure that, one, it's not going to the homepage, and two, it's going to specific landing pages. And so this is one of the questions you want to ask. Instead of doing the research yourself and figuring out if your ads are doing that, ask them directly, are you running these to the landing page, or are you running these to the homepage? That's a very important question. And whether you're entertaining marketing at all, just make sure you do that right for the first time around. So if you're driving traffic to landing pages, how will those pages be optimized for conversion? So we're big into conversion optimization around here at Intricate. I want to make sure that if we're sending traffic to a roof replacement page, it speaks about roof replacement, but it also has really good imagery. It has a deal, it has an offer there, as long as the company is able to coordinate with us on that. The other thing is that it has your NAP information, your name, address, phone number, and also most importantly, having your phone number right up top or right on the footer somewhere. And when I say footer, like if you're on a mobile phone, it pops up and it's a pop-up on the bottom of the phone right there. So it's always there wherever they scroll. And also having your forms. So your web forms are most important. People are becoming more and more interested in using web forms. As long as the company can call them back within 60 minutes, that lead is still a good opportunity, which you can turn from warm to an actual paying customer. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that as well. So we're really big around conversion optimization. Do you split test ads? So basically, with split test, you're to be able to see what ad creative is working best and what ad groups are working best, and so you can put more money into whatever ones. I'll give you a prime example. If a repair isn't working in a certain market and you've tried it multiple times, perhaps shut that off and put more money somewhere else. So you want to make sure you split test and see what's working and what's making you guys money. Will you be leveraging all of the ad extensions? So if we go back to that one slide, like right here, both of the, well, I guess right here, this one has better ad extensions, but this one doesn't have as good as final links. However, you want to make sure that you're using as much ad extensions as possible, because if you were to look at, disregard the top here, but if you were to look at this down and this down, you'd be able to see that this is much more intriguing. It's got more information. It's easy to look at. It's worded appropriately, and perhaps you'll find more value in that. We can see, oh, Texas City, I'm near Texas City. Based on proximity, I'm right there. So let's call this company. So those are all things you want to look at when it comes to, well, I guess we've got one more question here. What are our targets in terms of cost per lead and return on investment? So you really got to go into Google advertising with a goal. And with that being in mind, you want to make sure you tell your PPC person, this is our goal. How are we going to get there? What is our cost per lead? What's your average cost per lead? What is the, how many customers do we have to get to hit that goal? If you have a closing rate of 20%, how many leads do we have to get to ultimately get to that goal so we can increase the budget or whatever it is? So those are definitely really good questions you can ask your PPC provider or somebody else that you're entertaining to do your PPC. Make sure you ask some of these provoking questions to understand if they know what they're doing. So what makes the campaign better and different? I'm tired of talking. Zach, you have a second to chat about this?
Yep. So just overall what makes our campaigns better / different, I would just say experience, and then I would say the amount of competitor / account research we do. So we implement a number of tools, SpyFu, keyword, Google's keyword planner as well, reaching out to Google reps as well to just kind of make sure we can stay ahead of the curve. So any new implementations like, iOS 14, or when Google's starting to do away with, expanding text ads and moving only for responsive search ads, or things of, when broad match and phrase match are being combined, and broad match modified is going to be grandfathered in to phrase match and broad match as well. Just making sure we're also always staying ahead of the curve is kind of what we do. And then just kind of speaking to each bullet on here, we split the campaign into strategic ad groups based on our experience in the roofing and siding business, to help target your most profitable services. So I know I've implemented this and, re-implemented this a number of times, but just making sure you break out each service into each additional ad group, making sure your ad copy and the landing page is clean and cohesive, and making sure, your search query matches the information you're giving to the consumer. Setting up conversion optimized landing page. So like I said, just having the call to action at every fold of the page, making sure your lead form is large and prominent, making sure your service title is there and your location name is there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It really comes down to just making sure that your PPC person knows what they're doing and keeping KPIs and goals in mind so you can ultimately progress towards those goals. Okay. Perfect. There's a lot here. It really, again, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what are the possibilities? What are your most profitable services? And let's push a deal with it and making sure that all the components are in line. And at the end of the day, putting your offer in front of them, offering them, and having an opportunity to call or web form submission to capture that lead and turn them from an opportunity to an actual paying customer. So what I want you to do now is, if you found some value in this video, if you found some value in this webinar, I would appreciate if you guys, if you seem like a good fit, and make sure you schedule a consultation, a free strategy session, if you will, below. Just go to our website, intricateleroofingmarketers.com. Highly recommended, zero obligation. It's 100% free. And we stand behind our work. It's not even funny. You know, we have 110% guaranteed on our work here. And so we definitely want you to schedule a strategy call. I look forward to speaking with you soon. And with that being said, let me know if you have any questions. Email us, call us at any time, and we'll chat soon. Take care.